Hello, I'm Lalita from Let's Speak English. Now, there are many times in English conversation when you need to say how often you do something. For example, let's look at these questions. How often do you travel for work? Do you often eat pizzas? How often do you visit your friends? So, in all these questions, you're asked about how often you do a certain activity. So, adverbs of frequency help you to explain how many times you do an activity or how often something happens. Adverbs give more information about the action in a sentence. So, are you ready for some examples of these adverbs? Well, the first one is always. So, we use this adverb when the action happens all the times. Frequently, normally, usually, often, regularly. These adverbs are used when the action happens many times. Generally, is an adverb as an adverb is used when the action happens more often than not. Occasionally or sometimes is the adverb when the action happens less often or not that often. Or never. Never is an adverb when action doesn't happen at all. Now, usually these adverbs are used in the present tense, and adverbs can go in a few different places in an English sentence. But mostly they go in the middle of the sentence, that is between the subject and the verb. For example, we often take a walk on the beach. So, we is the subject, take is the verb. So, we often take a walk on the beach. So, often is the adverb. We sometimes pick groceries on the way home. I usually visit my sister on Saturdays. So, but you can also use them at the beginning of the sentence or at the end. That is, the adverbs can appear in the beginning of the sentence or at the end of the sentences as well. For example, we take a walk on the beach often. We pick groceries on the way home sometimes. Usually, I visit my sister on Saturdays. But we never put the adverb after the verb. That just doesn't work. For example, we pick up groceries sometimes on the way home. This is absolutely incorrect. Wrong way to use the adverb. Moving on. In addition to these adverbs, there are a number of other English expressions that can help you say how often something happens. You can use this expression once or twice with another expression like a day, a week, or a year. You can say once in a while, and these expressions are similar to the verb infrequently. Now, you can also say from time to time or every now and again, and these are similar to saying occasionally or sometimes. You can also say most of the times. This is similar to saying often. Now, all these expressions are used at the start or at the end of the sentence, but never in the middle. No, sir, that is incorrect. There are also a few ways that you can explain that something you do happens at the same time each week. For example, I take a French class every Saturday, or I take French class on Saturdays. Now, these two sentences mean exactly the same thing, but the name of the day is plural in the second one, and that tells the listener that it happens every week, which means it's a regular event. Now, using adverbs of frequency are especially helpful when you're describing your daily or a weekly routine. So, to explain, let me tell you about a typical day in my life. So, I regularly wake up at 5 a.m. Occasionally, I do yoga, but I don't do this as often as I would like to. I usually walk for an hour before I eat breakfast. Normally, I make some eggs, but sometimes I have some fruits and yogurt. I always have a strong cup of coffee before I start working. Generally, I take a break at 11 a.m. Every now and again, I go to the Zumba classes before I come home. I rarely eat out as I love cooking my own meals. I never drive as it's too hard to park. Most of the times, I meet my friends for a quick chat. But once or twice a week, I splurge and I like to treat my friends to a lovely dinner. I try to be in bed by 10 p.m., but that hardly ever happens. So you see, there are a lot of different ways of expressing yourself and expressing how often something happens in English. Learning to use these adverbs will help you to express yourself more clearly when you're speaking. So you think about your daily routine and see if you can try to use any of these adverbs and expressions to describe what you do. Well, that's it for this lesson. Remember that these expressions are mostly used in the present tense. Other adverbs are used with present continuous and the present perfect tense. But that lesson is for another day. We are working on the present right now. So keep watching Let's Speak English lessons and be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I upload new lessons every week, and if you subscribe, you will get notified as soon as there's a new one. Thank you for watching and bye for now.